Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is a weekly show where we introduce you to creators from all over the world and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and this is in fact our last show of 2024. But fear not, we will be back very, very soon in 2025 with new episodes of And I Quote, movie watch-alongs, and a whole bunch of other special pieces of programming that we have in store for you in 2025. But in the meantime, we're gonna say goodbye to 2024 and say hello to 2025 in grand style. And what better way to do it than with DBZ, voice actress, singer, veteran, talented young person from the great state of Texas. Stephanie Nadolny is here. Stephanie, welcome back. It is good to see you again, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody in cyber world and online with us today, or in the future if it's posted.
Absolutely, yeah. Otherwise, we would be jumping in our time-traveling DeLorean, going 80 miles per hour, and see some serious stuff. But outside
Back to 1985, yeah, the 80s.
I know, yeah, that was a great year. Granted, I wasn't there for 85 specifically, but I was there for a little portion of the 80s. Sorry, I don't mean to date myself, but
no, it's all right. We are what we are. We're born when we're born, and there's nothing we can do about it.
You know, this is why we keep bringing Stephanie back, because she's always right. She's absolutely right.
I'm right about everything, but I've learned a lot of lessons in my age.
Yes, you've seen some things. You've read some things. You've worked with some of the most talented people in the world. But just to let everybody know, if you're joining us live on the replay, thank you for doing so. If you have any questions for the legendary Stephanie Nadolny, please let us know in those comments. If not the chat, be more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. And if you have any favorite moments of 2024 for yourself, or maybe goals you may have for 2025 that you're willing to share with us, let us know in those comments or chat. We'd be more than happy to hear about those kinds of things as well. With that out of the way, Stephanie, what would you say were some of your favorite moments for you in 2024? Anything stand out?
Oh, there's several. I mean, the most obvious is my return as OG Goku Mini in the brand new series Dragonball Daima, which is Akira Toriyama's last work before he passed in March of 2024. It's a big deal. I hadn't been in any anime besides just a few Walla sessions in over 15 years. Toei Japan, they have the final say in the casting, so they brought me back. I think they also were hearing feedback from fans, who were saying, hey, we've heard that Daima's coming out, which they announced it was coming out October of 23. And then at the New York Comic Con, we did the big panel where we did all the announcements about the cast and the show, and was brought out for that, which was crazy insane. That was a really amazing weekend for many, many reasons. I could finally start talking about it. I did my first interview at the New York Comic Con. They had a huge display of, big giant 50-foot Goku, and they had several photo op type things where you could go and take pictures of the figures. You can sit on the Nimbus cloud. There was a bajillion people. It's the second biggest in the USA, and it's 4 days. So the panel that they conducted had about 3,600 people who got tickets ahead of time, or I think they were free, but you had to reserve a seat. But there was a ton of people there. We showed the trailer. The Toei Japan crew were there. It was a way bigger deal than I could even imagine. So that was really amazing. And I met some great people there, and I got to meet the right-hand man of Akira Toriyama. And so that was a big deal. And then to be able to, talk about it and actually say we're in production, and, with it coming out January 10th, there'll be probably the first episode in English on Crunchyroll and Netflix. I think that's the first time I've been on any kind of a show that's on Netflix. So that's a big deal. But I spiritually have been growing. I've been healing from a lot of past trauma, a lot of grief and loss. of my family. My father passed away in January. My mom passed away in 1999. So I don't like being orphaned, but I don't know. As you get older, I think it's just a little easier to embrace what happens and just not try to control anything, just let things flow. I've gotten better at that. And I've inherited anime babies all over the world, which is, I love it. I've just embraced it. I'm an anime mom. No kids of my own, unfortunately. I do have fur babies, but my anime kiddos are everywhere. So that's great. And I'm celebrating their successes with their families and their children. And the Comic-Cons and the meet and greets in person comic stores have been extremely fulfilling, gives me a lot of purpose. And I get to kind of nurture my people. They're my chosen family. So that's kind of in a nutshell, like the summary of stuff. I've met also a lot of other creative artists at these events, including the lady that did my Dragon Ball Z jacket. Here we've got Gohan. She designed it, and then I helped her decide what was going to go here, which was going to be the 3 Dragon Balls 3 here, and then this is the 4-star ball, right? Well, and then on the back, I guess I'm going to show it off. Go on. Yeah. So I'm just, I'm enjoying life, and I'm excited for 2025. 25 is my favorite number. I don't know if that's going to make any difference, but I have a feeling it's going to be a really good year. I'm excited about it.
Wow, 25 being your favorite number. So if we had you on the game show, unfortunately, this game show is no longer with us, and I was a big fan of this when it was on, and then they rebooted it some years later. Deal or no deal? There were 26 cases held by 26 lovely ladies holding 26 random amounts of money that ranged from 1 penny to a cool $1 million. So if you were contested on that show, you would have picked case number 25, which would have been held by Haley Marie, who was the briefcase model at that time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, game shows are fun. In fact, I think that's what we're going to do tonight. Instead of being out on the roads and being out in the craziness and spending bajillions of dollars, those aren't real words, but you get that. I know it's a money grab. I know people have to keep the doors open for whatever, but Dan and I, my bass player, manager, technical advisor,
yes,
bestie, roomie, whatever, everything. He and I played in bands together. He played in bands before me, and I played in live show bands touring with Vince Vance and the Valiants, and he toured with Bill Tillman and from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And then we ended up working together starting in 2003. And we became fast friends. So I've known him 21 years, and he and I have a business now. He's my guy, man. He's my right-hand man, and he's great with business and the financial aspect of everything. And so am I, which is good, but he's also better at the technical stuff and the auditions and editing and videos and promos and adding all the graphics. Like, he's learning how to do that. And we're excited to make our promo videos bigger and better and much more animated and entertaining. So he and I, we're gonna play board games with a couple that we don't get to see much, and that for us is a big deal because our schedule is usually opposite of a lot of other people that work Monday through Friday. We travel Friday to Monday, Friday to Sunday, and then our weekdays are free. So this is the holidays are a time when we can actually get together with our friends who we rarely get to see. So we're gonna have some good, clean, sober fun. And be responsible and safe and eat and snack and watch TV and watch all the festivities on the computer or on the screen. So I know we're getting lame in our old age, but I think it's a smart decision. And like I said, we played in bands, so we played and worked all through the holidays before. We've been to plenty of New Year's Eve celebrations, weddings, parties, festivals, all of that. We've definitely had our day with enjoying that, and I'm sure it's even bigger and better now, but we're gonna take it easy.
No, that's fair, and I hope you, your friends, your loved ones, everybody celebrating that enjoys themselves. Absolutely. What would you I think we talked about this at one point before, but I'm just curious, what would you say were some of your favorite board games?
Well, I like the OG 80s board games that I say not all of us, but most of us, but have grown up with. But a lot of those games are still relevant and fun to play, especially when you have more than 2 people. Like when you have 4 to 6 or maybe even more, that's when it gets really fun. I just actually Christmas Eve, we saw another couple of ours that has an opposite schedule, and we played games with them. And we played a game called And We Wrote, or Murder We Wrote, or something like that. Murder I Wrote. Basically, you come up with your own story, and we get to have cards to pick who did it and how, and then we pick a card for who actually gets murdered. It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be a live person. It could be a cucumber or Santa Claus, or so when you make up your stories, it's a really cool creative way, and it's hilarious listening to the stories you can come up with and the people around you. And then the other one we played was 5-second rule, or 5-second, where they pick a card, you have to name 3 things from the question within 5 seconds, and harder than you think, but if you know your stuff and you get a good card that's easy, you can do pretty well there. And it's cool because you don't really keep score on these games. They're just fun. I also like Pictionary, where you draw. That one makes me laugh. I cry. I laugh till I cry at that game, because some of the drawings, and you're in a hurry, so they're all like, what is that? Like, what did you just draw? Is that a cat or a windmill? Like what? So I like those the best, just because you get to be creative and you and test your brain and just be silly. Those are my favorite. But I do like some of the older ones, the OGs, like the Monopoly. That one tends to go on and on and on and take quite a bit of time. But those are my favorite. And there's so many more I haven't even experienced. Oh, and Uno. Who doesn't love Uno? So there's Uno, and they put a Dragon Ball Z Uno out where the characters are on the cards. I know. I saw it at a like a kind of an old school vintage. I say vintage. It wasn't really vintage, but it was like
flea market maybe.
Yeah, it was like a toy store in an outlet mall out here in Grapevine near the airport. And
Sure.
I just walked around. There's lots of really cool stores like that aren't chains, but they're mom and pops, and they have some of that random stuff. So I had a lot of fun shopping for gifts there this year.
Wow. Anybody else know where I can find a deck of these cards? I like to have one.
I'm sure they're pretty easy to find online too. They could probably just There's actually several Uno games. Uno Express, there's a bunch, but the Uno with the Dragon Ball character, that's pretty cool. Got to play that one.
That would be cool to play. Then maybe I can have you sign one of the cards. Who knows?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That could be a nice collector's item, right? Put it up on somebody's wall, or keep it for them. Keep it for themselves in a very safe place, I would assume.
Now draw 4. You get skipped, buddy.
See, this would be fun if we had Stephanie around and then we were all playing card games together, and then she did the voiceovers. That'd be fun.
And I can imitate the other ones.
If you wanted to. I mean, if you wanted to, it's up to you. I'm not going to force you, but if you wanted to, yeah, we can have a lot of fun with voiceover.
Yeah, true. Mimicking.
With yes, that too. Once again, this is the episode of And I Quote with the legendary Stephanie Nadolny. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you have any questions for her, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat more specifically. And if you're watching us live on a replay, thank you so much for doing that. Goodness gracious. Any particular fan interactions that stood out to you when you were at these events or conventions?
I've had quite a few that stand out. I mean, I love them all, obviously. The ones that really, really touch my heart and warm my heart are families with kids and babies, and then they dress them up like the characters, and they might have a baby Gohan with the cap and the hat and the 4-star ball, and then we do group pictures, and a lot of times I'll throw those in. I don't charge for that, and we just, we really want, I say we, me and Dan, want the fans and the attendees and families to really get a top-notch experience from actually being there in person with us, and really interacting, face to face, and hearing the stories of how my work, whether it be Gohan or Goku, helped them through hard times, whether it be bullying at school and we may have talked about this at the last time. There's a lot of really fun little Dragon Ball like toys and candy and stuff that I always have handy for the families and the kids. And I know there was specifically one that stood out where a kid he was obviously, I don't know the extent of it, but I think his stepdad or dad, or maybe his dad that was there, and he was kind of talking him down and saying, why do you spend money on this anime crap or whatever it's called? And he was kind of doing that in front of us, and it was really disheartening. And then to see the look on the kid's face, he was probably about 14, and he was looking down and he was sullen. And so I made sure the store got a surprise autograph for him. I'm a victim of domestic abuse from my step family, but mom and dad on both sides. So I can relate to how that feels to be yelled at and ridiculed in front of people, and how ashamed you feel, and being made fun of for what you love is just, it's not acceptable, especially it's supposed to be in the safety of your home. So we got him an autograph, and it was a small town near Waco, and he was able to come pick it up, and the lady knew the family. So that was really amazing. And then one guy came up in a wheelchair and he had a Dragon Ball Z hat on, and he said, I think I'm going to cry. And I said, well, give me that hat and I'll sign it. And he said, yes, that's what I wanted. I signed his hat, put it back on his head, got a little video. There's moments like that when you really feel like you're touching lives and you're changing yourself and the world for better, and really putting good energy out in the cosmos and the universe, and really relishing in that, and the how good it feels in your heart, and how it complements your own life by giving and being generous. I mean, yeah. So there's just been they're pretty countless. I mean, if I go scrolling through my phone and looking at the pictures, there's more that I can talk about. But interactions like that are especially meaningful. And then if they want to do like a TikTok, or we do like a funny video, and we interact that way and tag each other, you end up making new friends, and everybody has a good time. So yeah, those are a few.
That's fantastic. Being there for the fans, doing things, going beyond what some celebrities would normally do at conventions, and what you've done, the extraordinary things that you've done, Stephanie, is just, I mean, it's, that's just fantastic. I give you 5 stars. I give it a tan as one.
10 stars.
10 star. I mean, if there's
Dragon Balls, there's only 7. I'll take 3 more, please. Thank you.
Or 7 plus 3 equals 10. Yes, thank you. I was never good at math.
Just throwing some Dragon Ball.
No, it's great. It's great. And I'm learning more and more from you when you share these things with me, or you voice over these characters, because I'm not overly familiar with DBZ. I've seen a few episodes here and there, but nothing too big. And I'm not really, I respect anime for what it is. I'm just not a big anime fan per se, but that doesn't mean I don't respect it.
Oh, absolutely. The work is great. And it's cartoons that are start and originate and are developed in Japan, and they come over here and we dub them, and that's what makes it an anime.
Yeah, for sure. And then being there for yourself, being there for others, and all that stuff. I mean, clearly,
this is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
I mean, this is the way when it comes to that sort of stuff. I'm sorry, I know it's a different fandom.
I met Emily Swallow March of 23, and she did that line, and then I did a TikTok with her where I did it in East Kai's voice. This is the way.
No kidding.
And she was like, I love it. She was really sweet. She's also one of the ones that has been a nice surprise of how personable she was. It was in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is where Elvis was born, and I'm from Memphis, so I got to see my aunt. And anyway, that one stands out too. But we did a video where she says, "This is the way." Anyway, the armorer, right? She's
her character name is the Armorer. Yes, from Mandalorian, from the TV series on Disney Plus. # not a sponsor of this show.
One more highlight before we move to the next question, if that's okay. Mark Anthony, I believe is his name. He's from the UK. He is the original 1977 Star Wars Boba Fett.
Whoa.
We met in Miami last month, and we didn't meet him right away. He was there along with another artist at our first event at New Era Collectibles in Miami. And but then we started riding around together to and from the hotel, went out to eat, and really had a great time getting to know him. Cut from the same clay, definitely. Dan and I had a really, really enjoyable time getting to know him and joking around and, sharing pictures of our animals and our pets and our families and things like that. And so we stayed in touch, and he actually went online before I could get online to follow him. He followed me first, which I found to be extremely humbling, and I was surprised. So, when you meet these people and you hang out with them all weekend, you get to know them and they become your friends. It's pretty neat. And I saw the original. This is gonna age me, date me, whatever you want to call it. But I did see the original as a little bitty, very, very young kid in 1977 with my 2 stepbrothers, my stepdad, and my brother. So I was the only girl, and of course, I was confused at the movie, but loved it and really enjoyed R2-D2 and Princess Leia. That's kind of who I latched onto.
Nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Fun fact for those of you who are fans of The War in the Stars, also known as Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back turns 45 next year in 2025, and Force Awakens turns 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're in a coma. Sorry, that's morbid.
It's okay.
It's a joke, guys. Lighten up.
You're right. You're right. But yes, it does indeed turn 45. We will be doing a movie anniversary watch along right here on this very channel that you're watching, which is And I Quote, because we do these watch alongs second, third, and fourth Fridays of each month, and we already have our schedule laid out for 2025. 2 of them include Empire Strikes Back turning 45, which we spoke about earlier, and Force Awakens turning 10.
Okay.
And then we brought up something that you mentioned earlier. Back to the Future turns 40 next year. So
I love it. 80s, more 80s vintage stuff. I love it. And the kids love the 80s. I've noticed. I love it when young people, when I say young, I mean under 30 or even 40, I guess it's, but like
young-ish,
even younger.
It's okay, I'm 37, so maybe I count for that one. It's okay.
Yeah. Seeing and hearing the influence that, say, their parents that are maybe my age had on them, and to relish in like Pink Floyd, Beatles, ABBA, Queen, disco, and rock and roll, classic rock, and then to hear, my friends who have kids now, and they're grown, some of them are grown, and the fact that they adhere to music and latch on to a lot of those standard, really classic bands, and Elvis and all of that is really cool. I like to see that, and that music has stood the test of time, so it's good stuff. And with the internet, you can pretty much find anything, and you can find new music that's not been released in a radio format or on some of the main top 40. There's a ton of musicians out there doing such amazing work, and it's great to kind of like dig in the trenches for that and find some good music. I'm ready to dive into making a really nice playlist and getting some more of the newer music on my phone, and maybe downloading some cool apps so that when I'm driving or walking the dog, I can listen to some amazing music. So
that's wonderful stuff. And it's funny, it's amazing that you bring this up, because I just learned this over the holiday season when I was visiting my family for Christmas, for those of you who celebrate it. I saw my niece and my nephew. Now they're 15 and 12. So my niece showed me her vinyl collection. I didn't know she listened to music on vinyl. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're 15. You're 15.
Wow.
So she's a vinyl, player, and she showed me some of her albums, and some of them are current, yes. But she also showed me some of the things that originally, because I didn't know this about my family at the time. My late father, my father passed away 19 years ago. We love you, Dad. He had a record collection that I didn't know about, and my oldest brother, who's my niece's dad, has a tote filled with all my dad's albums, and I didn't know this about it. I'm like, wait a minute, brother Greg, I didn't know that Dad had vinyl, or he collected it, or he had like all these different kinds of albums and records and all this kind of stuff. He's like, yeah, he's had it for years. I'm like, Greg, I didn't know this about Dad.
Wow, that's so cool. That's the ones I listened to as a kid, was my father's albums. Album. Now, when I was a baby, they were on 8-track, and you could actually use an 8-track in your car if you had an 8-track player. That was the thing. And then, of course, cassettes came out, and that was all the rage in the mostly 80s. And I got my first tape recorder at age 8, and got the blank cassettes, and was absolutely obsessed with it. I would put the batteries in and carry it around and record people talking, and with permission, of course. And then I would go back and try to mimic their voices. So I was already into voice acting and mimicking and character voices from watching my own cartoons that I grew up with, which was Smurfs, Looney Tunes, Roadrunner, all that, Porky Pig, Bugs Bunny. Those were my favorites. And so I already had an affinity naturally by having the ear for it without really knowing at the time. I figured everybody had that same ear. But that ear is what was able to allow me to pursue all things voice, whether it's singing, reciting poetry. I was writing in journals. I was creating, and I spent a lot of free time doing that. And it's amazing how much that's contributed to my life now. And as I move through my career, my resume of life, it's all been part of it. And so everybody has that. Everybody has their experiences that shape them, their passions, the things that they're naturally good at. Maybe they don't know right away when they're young, but then they develop it. And then next thing you know, if all goes well, they can pursue their dreams and their passions with stuff they enjoy, and doing things they enjoy, which comes naturally, which is also their passion. And therefore it gets spread out and shared with the world. And that's what we're here to do, is share our gifts with the world and hopefully impact people in extremely positive ways. So yeah, there's my little speech.
I was going to say Stephanie for president. With that
Oh
being
gosh,
said,
no.
gosh, no.
But thank
Better.
you.
Yeah.
If there was a creative president, if there were,
Right.
categories of presidents or leaders, yeah, maybe that, but
Maybe. No, it's okay. It's fine. I don't mean to put you too much on the pedestal here, but you're just so cool and you're just so money. You don't even know it. And the other thing is about my niece. She showed me her and she said she likes listening to the Beatles. I'm like, wait a minute, what? 15 and you like listening to the Beatles? Are you kidding me? So she shows me like the Beatles and like a few other albums that she had in her room. She doesn't have too much room for this stuff, but she has like certain things in there. I think one of them may have been Pink Floyd or whatever it was, and I'm just like, you're 15.
Yeah.
And you're listening to this stuff. And the fact that you tell me that you like the Beatles, and I asked her, who do you like better, Beatles or Rolling Stones? She's like, I like the Beatles. I'm like, well, I'm more of a Stones fan, but whatever.
I learned about the Stones when they actually put out what was considered their disco song.
Really?
It was
oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
I miss you.
I've heard it.
To meet you. Yeah, he's great. I didn't know who they were. That was not one of the ones we had, but we did have. My dad would buy the 45s when I'd go see him. Parents had already split when I was 6, but around 8, 9, he would take me to Sound Warehouse on his weekend to see me, and we would go digging through albums. And if I was really, really good and like begged and agreed to stay in good behavior, my dad would sometimes buy me an album, and it was usually Donna Summer, my favorite singer idol of my life. The one that I heard and was mesmerized by her voice, which led me to pursue singing, and I memorized all of her songs and her inflections and the way she sang. And really, that's when I just really knew I was definitely going to go into some kind of profession involving singing, music performance. And then later it became kind of singing, dancing, and acting, musicals, plays, things like that. So but we would have these 45s, and I always got to get a 45 regardless, because those were much less expensive than the album. The albums were like somewhere between $15 and $24, depending if they had one record or the double albums. And I never forget, I was so good, and it was like really close to my birthday, and so my dad got me a double album, my first double album, except for Live and More, Donna Summer Live and More. This one was Once Upon a Time, and man, I just listened to music for hours and hours, and would just really mimic my model for learning how to sing from Donna Summer's voice, and she could pretty much sing anything. So, and then I just adapted it to be my voice, my style. So, there you have it.
That's just styling and profiling. Once again, this is the end. I quote, the last one of 2024. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for Stephanie, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're joining us live or what is known as a replay, thank you much for doing so. You brought up Emily Swallow earlier. I met her for the first time earlier this year. That's one of the highlights for me in 2024, was meeting a lot of the members of the Star Wars family. Nice. And when I met Emily, I was wearing a Mandalorian. It had a silhouette of like 10 different characters, including the armor was on this shirt, by the way. I always try to wear the most appropriate shirt for each selfie or photo op that I'm going to be a part of.
Absolutely.
Because that just makes it stylish and makes it stand out more. So I went up to Emily and I said, Emily, I love your character, the armor. I have this print that my friend put together because he's an artist. He tables at conventions. And this is Pat Kenrick of Amorable Art. And he does watercolor arts, more specifically. So I had a picture of the armor, and I said, would you be willing to sign it? And I asked her, would you be willing to sign it? Ryan, you are a Mandalorian. This is the way. And she signed it exactly the way I requested it. And then she signed it at the bottom, Emily Swallow. And then we got the picture together, and she's holding the hammer that she may or may not have used on set, because she always tries to carry 1 or 2 props with her when she's at conventions.
Nice.
So she had the hammer. My friend Stephanie, and another Stephanie, believe it or not, Stephanie and I, my friend Stephanie, not this one that we're on camera with right now, but a good friend of mine, Stephanie, we're on camera with her, and we had the photo up together, and I was like, geez, that was a moment. That was fun. And she was so nice and so chill and just took her time. Great. Yeah, she loves meeting the fans. And I told her how much I love the armor, and how much I told her, hey, just so you know, Emily specifically, I like the fact that your character got to kick a little bit more ass in season 3, with beating stormtroopers to death with a hammer or whoever else was coming after you. That was fun. Seeing you a little bit more, you have a bit more of a role to play rather than just giving these great monologues and storylines in the background and whatnot. I mean, she's great doing that. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But she came out of her shell a little bit more in season 2 or 3, and I'm thinking,
nice. I'm gonna have to watch now that I know her and we've talked about it. I just have to make sure I need to watch everything in order so that it makes sense. because I did go to one of the movies with Hayden Christensen and that Natalie Portman, whatever that one was.
Prequels, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I was so confused, and it's just because I hadn't kept up with anything from Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, all those, and then Return of the Jedi, and then that's kind of where we stopped. That's why I stopped, and then I thought it was going to be that was it. And of course,
we all did.
Yeah, no, but it's such a huge success. I mean, no wonder there's all these prequels, and it's all amazing stuff. And you know, that's what you nerd and geek out about. You know, I geek out about disco and music, and everybody geeks and dweebs out, and that's where we can kind of like find some common ground. And that's why these Comic-Cons and these meet and greets and grand openings or whatever we do are so much fun for everybody, because we can really come together and like talk about what we love, and if we both like the same thing, and next thing you know, you've got like an hour-long conversation with somebody or whatever. And I was really impressed with Emily, not just because of all the things you said, but we were at Tupelo. That was another one, and Mrs. I think I told you that. We hung out for the weekend, and we went to brunch one day with everybody, and we actually have each other's number, and like I helped her find a social media manager, and we've been conferring a little bit. And of course, I met Mark from the Star Wars series, so I had to tell her about that. But to be nice and approachable and kind and not exude some kind of form of arrogance or conceitedness or ego was just really nice. And we really connected like right away. And some people you just connect with, you know, you just have I don't know. You just know when you know that you're meeting someone that you can connect with, and that you may or may not want to hang out or at least at minimum follow on the socials and stay in touch with. And she was definitely one of them, and it was just an honor to meet her, and that she was cool with doing a TikTok with me. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy for you too that you got to meet her.
Yeah, I met a lot of great members of the Star Wars family. And by the way, the event that I saw Emily at was in the great city where it's always sunny. It's called Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at Fan Expo in Philadelphia. So
nice. That's a big one.
It's a huge show, and I've been there a couple of times before. So she was there. D. Bradley Baker was there. The cast of Clone Wars, you know, Ashley, Matt, James, Arnold Taylor. Which, by the way, all three or four of them, including Emily, and because I throw Emily in this, 5 of the nicest people you're ever going to see in the world. They're some of the nicest, most kind, generous. They take their time with the fans, give people moments. Fun fact for you: when we were at Fan Expo Philadelphia meeting Emily, I saw Ashley Eckstein, you know, Ahsoka Tano, the voice of Ahsoka Tano again. And Ashley was so kind to my friend. Once again, this goes back to another Stephanie and I. And we were there, and she says, listen, because you guys have been nice to me, and I see you guys at some of these events, and I catch up with you, I'm going to give you one of these. And she took off one of these. She wears bracelets on both of her wrists that she gets from fans or artists, whatever.
Oh, nice.
And she took off one of her one of her friendship bracelets came off of her wrists. And she gave one to each Stephanie and I, saying, hey, this is for you, just to say, I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to see me and all this. So I'm not wearing it right now, but I do have it here in my possession. It's here in my studio somewhere. I have the friendship bracelet that she gave me, and I'm like, no other celebrity has ever done something like, at least in my experience, because I can't speak for
right off her wrist. Yeah, that's great.
She took it right off her wrist. She gave one to me, and she gave one to my friend Steph. And I'm thinking to myself, can this woman get any nicer? Like, honestly, and these people, I feel like they're just angels sent down to be blessings on this earth, because Ashley, James, and Matt Lanter, who I'm referring to, the voice cast of Clone Wars, you know, was it Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, respectively. They're some of the nicest people you're ever going to see on this earth.
Oh yeah, that's a plus, especially when you're meeting these fans that come out of literally, you're meeting your heroes. You're meeting what you grew up with, or what you love, or what you're passionate about, and then when you get that kind of an experience, it's just icing on the cake. It's all bonus. You're not rushed through anything. You know, really, when you're really 100% focused on your fans, it's so much better for both myself, the quote celebrity, and I quote, and for the fan and the attendees and or friends and family. And that's just a plus. I mean, I don't look at it as, I mean, it is my, mostly my job aside from session work for Goku Mini on Dragonball Daima, which we've taken a big break because of the holidays. That's pretty much most of my income anyway, but I also don't gouge, and I throw in stuff, and I always have giveaways and things like that, and charity stuff to donate for good causes. So I'm really glad you had that good experience. And the people remember that. They really remember meeting could be the one and only time they get to meet somebody they look up to, and it should be that way. It really should be.
That's very, very true. And I don't mean to, and by the way, I'm not trying to make this show about myself, but we're talking about highlights for ourselves between 2024, what happened. I mean, Stephanie, you've shared some of the things that you've enjoyed. I mean, one of the things that I enjoyed, and this is another event that we went to, Awesome Con in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, is held every year, I think in April or May. My friends and I were there. It was their first time at this convention. We went, and I was there for 2 very specific reasons. And I was wearing my Clark Kent outfit for this because Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum from the hit TV series Smallville, which is an origin story of Clark Kent becoming Superman, were there. And I waited 18 long years to meet these 2 legendary actors who played these legendary characters, because DC's been around for many, many decades. Let's not kid ourselves. And I wore my outfit. I was wearing the red jacket, the blue shirt, the blue jeans, the exact outfit that Tom Welling himself wore on that show, because that's what Clark Kent wore during seasons 5 through 10. More specifically, that's during the second half of the series. And I walked up to him and I told him how much the show impacted me, how much it meant to me, how much it got me through the loss of my dad when I lost him 19 years ago, because I watched it a few weeks after my dad had passed. And the episode that I saw was the episode where Clark loses his dad in episode 100, which is Reckoning.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm serious as can be. And I told him how much that made an impact on me and how it helped me, got me through it. And it was great. They appreciated me sharing that with them. And, Michael looked at me and he's like, dude, you look good in this outfit. I'm like, thanks, Michael. I waited 18 years to wear it. Waited a good while, man. Waited a good while because, sometimes, it takes a while.
Right. Yeah, just be patient, and then the right time, the right meeting will happen.
Yeah. But I met them. They signed a season 5 because I watched it during season 5. That's when I first started watching the series. I had a season 5 poster, Stephanie. Had him sign it with very specific lines that I wanted him to sign it with from the show that stood out to me when I was watching Reckoning that day. And they signed their Funko Pops. Yes, I will admit it. I did have them sign Funko Pops. They're JSA authenticated. # not a sponsor. But they did. They got it signed. It's authenticated. I have it in a Pop Shield protector. So they're not going to get damaged anytime soon, thank goodness. And I got my pro photo op with them, and I said, this is the best photo op up to my point in my Comic-Con career. This is the best pro photo op I've ever been a part of. And it's basically me standing in the middle with my outfit on. Yes, Tom and Michael on either side of me. We have our arms around, and Tom and Michael are pointing their fingers at me like I'm number one, or like, hey, look at this guy.
I love that accusatory point.
It is, yeah. So it's on my social media. You can find it on And I Quote channel, which you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine, and all that.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, you should. It was a great moment. It's one of those moments, when you go to conventions and you experience these kind of things, that's a moment. That's something you're never going to forget. And all the years you're going to be living on God's green earth. So that was a highlight for me in 2024 because I waited 18 years for that, and it finally came true. And my friends and I were there. They were witnessing it. They saw it. My good friend.
That's a precious memory right there.
My good friend who physically wasn't there, but he said, hey, when you go, this is some of the stuff you should consider doing when you want to get their autographs. Make sure you have your own paint pens, have note cards, have directions for them on the sheet of paper or whatever. So my friend who's been doing this for many years was like, dude, if you're going to do this, you need to do it this way so you get the right signatures and the right stuff that you want. By the way, I'm giving a shout out to my good friend Jeff of Iconic Autographs and Inscriptions. You're the man, Jeff. I love you, brother.
What's up, Jeff? Cool.
He is. Jeff is a great man. He lives in the great state of Pennsylvania where it's always sunny. Even though he's not in Philadelphia per se, he's in Harrisburg. But still, it's always sunny where he is because he's a ray of sunshine.
I love it up there. It's
great. Exactly.
Really?
He's up in Harrisburg. So Jeff's the man. And Jeff, I believe Jeff and I are planning on going to Awesome Con this year in 2025 because they're having a cast reunion of the Goonies. They're having
there's some stuff.
There's some people there. There's some people there.
He's exactly the same age as me.
Is it Sean Astin is?
Yeah, we're both.
No kidding.
But I grew up also with that movie and all the kids. Yeah.
I was gonna say who didn't. I have two older brothers. Remember that, Stephanie? I have two older brothers, so they exposed me to a lot of the 80s movies.
Yeah. So. See, this is a funny story about Sean Astin since we're talking about celebrity interaction.
Yeah, Goonies. Yeah.
I ended up in
where was this?
Australia. And New Zealand on a tour for Armageddon and Supernova. And Sean Astin was part of the lineup. This was 2004, April, I think. It's a lot, I have to say, for the most part. Most times it's easier to meet the celebrities that you're kind of alongside as far as like the lineup. It's much easier to have a conversation with them and or hang out with them, possibly dine with them, because we all ride together on the same bus every day to and from, and we're there for, you know, a total of like 10 to 12 days. So you're like, you know, almost 2 weeks with a lot of the same people, because they usually agree on the guests, and then we merge and we all just kind of travel together. And Sean Astin, he said that he forgot to pack socks. It was just some random thing. He said, yeah, I don't have any socks on. It's cold because it's, you know, winter there in April. And so when I went out souvenir shopping, I bought him some socks. And the next day or next event we were at, I said, I brought you some socks. So I had like a bag full of like 3 or 4 different pairs of socks, men's sizes. He was so grateful because, you know, it's not a huge deal. It's not like you forgot your clothes or lost your bag or anything like that. But it was just it was a fun moment that I shared with Sean Astin. And, you know, he was talking about his family and he's got a bunch of kids. And of course, he was in Lord of the Rings. I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't had the time to watch much of anything, which is good to be busy and to stay busy. But yeah, I haven't seen any of that. But yeah, he's had quite the career. Didn't he play in that football movie, Rudy?
He was Rudy. Yeah. Rudy Rudiger. He's 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing, not one speck of athletic ability, but he's all heart.
Oh my gosh! And Rudy was thankfully not rude. So there's a thumbs up for you.
That's a play on words. Where's the drummer when you need him? Dan?
Oh, were you about to say something about the Goonies? Is that how we got on the subject?
Well, yeah, they're going to have at AwesomeCon in 2025. For those of you who are attending it in Washington, D.C., which is our nation's capital, they're going to have a cast reunion because they've announced a lot of their guests who are going to be attending this event this year in 2025. They're going to have a reunion of the Goonies. They're also going to have a cast reunion of one of my personal favorites, TMNT from 1990, the original live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990. I kid you not.
Whoa.
A lot of the voice actors are going to be there, which includes Corey Feldman, because he was the voice of Donatello from the original film. He was Donatello.
Okay, Corey, yep.
So he's got both sides playing there. He's got the Goonies reunion, and he's got the TMNT reunion. What's up?
That's perfect.
And he's going to be there. You also have the co-creator of TMNT, Kevin Eastman, is going to be in the building, who created the comic books between him and Peter Laird. You also have, speaking of Star Wars, the writer of the Heir to the Empire trilogy and a lot of the Thrawn books, Timothy Zahn, is going to be in the building. He's a world-class writer, best-selling writer, I should say. Gee willikers. But yeah, I'm jazzed about meeting the TMNT cast because I'm a huge TMNT fan, and I grew up watching the animated series, the movies.
Then you may know the Robbie Wrist and Brian.
I've met Robbie. He's one of the funniest, kindest dudes ever. He signed my Michelangelo NECA figure, Stephanie, and he wrote, because I asked him, I said, Robbie, would you be willing to sign this for me with your favorite line from the film? He says, yeah. He says the line, God, I love being a turtle. And Robbie
I love it. I've done several events with him and even more with Brian. Saratoga Comic-Con, and then I did something down in McAllen, South Texas. It was great.
Was it fun?
Yeah, we actually did one called Cowabunga Con.
Really?
They put me in as an anime guest.
Get out of here.
Space for me, so I had a cancellation, and we worked it out and ended up meeting that family, and they were amazing. South Texas, huge anime fans, huge Turtles fans. Brian and I hung out. Really? He's another one I connected with. A lot of fun. Doesn't do videos. I respect that, but he does pictures, and he's really good with the fans. And you know, he was in Police Academy and Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, we're going way back here.
Way back here.
But we hit it off and hung out. I think we even went and had dinner one night in like 23. So when you say that now, I can kind of put names to faces. I met a few of the other Turtles. I know they all do different things, and some of them are animated, some of them are live action in the costumes. And then I know Johnny Wong, who's down at Bell County Comic-Con in Temple, Texas, Belton, Texas, to be exact. They're having an anime event in February. I'm going to be at for the first time, Anime Sunika.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. In Belton. It's their second year to do an actual anime event. So I'm looking forward to working with Johnny again. He's amazing. He does a lot of conventions and events, and he does us really well, and takes us, kind of takes us out one night, and we get to enjoy an Asian dinner with his family and at their family restaurant. Oh, delicious. I actually sat across from Lou Ferrigno.
The Lou Ferrigno?
Oh yeah. And he was the first one I met at a con ever, San Diego Comic-Con in 2000.
That's a big show right there. That's the WrestleMania of shows.
Yeah, that was like the first time I'd ever even been to one. No, I had no idea that they had all of these all the time, just about everywhere, and now more than ever.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yes, I met Lou Ferrigno, got a picture with him, and then 21 years later,
21 years later, not 20,
Yeah,
21.
21
Goodness
years
gracious.
later, I'm eating dinner with him, literally across from me, because he's one of the guests for that event. It was one of the biggest one we've done, and
That must have been
right after COVID. Yeah, I was grouped with Mark Britton, who's he's the voices of 6 or 7 of the characters from Dragon Ball Z OG, including Korra the Cat, Ox King, Grand Kai. He's a comedian. We hooked back up, and now we're buddies, and we're doing some events. In fact, we're doing one this weekend in Vegas. Is a big one for us.
Vegas, baby. Vegas.
DBZ, check it out.
Right, Vegas.
Lots of guests. I'm excited to meet a lot of the OGs, and then some that I'm already friends with, like Mark. Mark will be there. I'll finally get to reunite with Dale Kelly, who was the original narrator from Dragon Ball Z from 1999. I finally will get to see him again.
Gee whiz.
Peter Columbus is always a joy. He is open dub Goku, and he's such a nice guy. And we do videos together, and we mimic characters, and we just have a good old time. Linda Young, OG Frieza will be there. Chuck Huber, a great guy. Scarlett Jr., Emperor Pilaf, Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. He's also a stage actor, and he's great with the fans. So it's going to be great. Oh, Lori Steele, that's a big one. She doesn't get to travel much. She's the voice of Kid Krillin. We're going to be signing our little double. There's a little Goku and a little Krillin and a double Funko Pop.
Oh, a double box, yeah.
Yes, and so we'll be at the same place at the same time signing, and I'm looking forward to that too. And there's several others listed. Some I haven't met, Wendy Lee, and some of the other dub. So it's going to be just a great time. I mean, Vegas,
baby. Vegas
is where it's at. It's the city that never sleeps. It's lights, it's decor, everything's.
I'm certain, honey, there'll be plenty of money. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the. Please forgive me, because this movie doesn't celebrate its 30th anniversary for another year or so. But the movie Swingers has a great soundtrack, and one of the songs is "There'll be plenty of money for you," and it's just got this. Great soundtrack. And that's where I get the line when I tell people, and this is a form of encouragement. I don't mean this as a negative when I say this to people in public or on this set, which is what we're doing with And I Quote right now. Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it. That's a Vince Vaughn line.
I'm hearing more of that. You just said it earlier, like your money. Give the person their flowers is a new one I'm hearing.
Yeah. I tell people you're so money you don't even know. It's a way of me saying you're a great person. You got a lot of things going for you. You got a bright future ahead of you.
Literally, because money is,
well, yeah, but I'm just it's a form of encouragement when I say it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's how you mean it. Absolutely. But I'm learning the new phrases, especially
the lingo,
youngsters. Yeah.
But yeah, I drop that on people a lot, and sometimes they're a bit taken aback by it. They're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Well, it means you're awesome. It means you got a lot going. It's like you need to have this confidence about yourself. Like, don't worry about anything. Just put yourself out there.
Shine your light. Accolades. It's accolades. It's applause. It's hey man. It's encouragement. We all need to do more of that.
Yeah,
the world needs to do more of that. The world needs to be like just.
Well, there was a scene in the movie Swingers when they're actually in Vegas and going to a casino because Mikey's going through a rut with his ex-girlfriend and he's trying to get over it, and he's like, let's go to the casinos, let's just have some fun, let's play some craps, play some blackjack, whatever it is.
Lights.
All the big city bright lights. And he says, you know what, Mikey, you're a big winner. You know what's going on here, Mikey? You're a big winner tonight. You're a big winner in more ways than one. Hey, let me ask you something. I'm going to ask you a serious question. I want you to give me a serious answer, okay? Who's the big winner tonight at the casino? It's Mikey. Mikey's the winner. Mikey's the big winner.
Okay, now I'm going to have to see it. I'm going to write. I have a list.
Okay, all right.
I have a notepad on my phone. I'm going to put that one on.
This movie came out in 1996. It stars Vince Vaughn before he was Vince Vaughn. Jon Favreau, speaking of Star Wars, before he was Jon Favreau.
Okay.
So you also got Heather Graham.
Oh, you know what? Now that you've mentioned those stars, I remember when the trailers were coming out.
Okay. Well, Heather Graham's in it.
Oh, so, I love her.
If you want to see an early, young, up and coming Heather Graham at the time, go back and watch Swingers. And by the way, don't let the title fool you, because it's not about that. It's about guys encouraging other guys to be confident for themselves and go out and just have a good time. Maybe pick up girls' digits.
If it works out, hey, meant to be.
Something like that. But yeah, feel free to look it up. Came out in 1986 from Miramax. It's got a great cast. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Plus, it's a funny rom-com.
I love comedy.
Well, it's a funny rom-com. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's a funny funny comedy / rom-com, because there is a bit of romance. Not too much romance in it, but there is.
I'm gonna put it on my list of must-see movies. There's actually a lot from long time ago. I want to see The Tale of Two Cities.
Oh wow.
There's I've got, like I said, I've got the list. I think it's one called Magnolia.
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, I like it. And I actually saw Wicked.
Oh, you saw Wicked?
another musical actually in
When was this?
London in 2007.
No kidding.
It was amazing. So now I got to see the movie.
Yeah, the movie's making a big splash. It's breaking everybody's records.
I'm hearing that, and with it being a musical, it's right up my alley. I mean, that's what I love is the music and rock operas. You know, I've always liked rock operas, and Les Mis is one of my favorite all-time musicals. In person, on stage, I mean, I just bawl my eyes out. It's so touching. Miss Saigon, I saw that one in New York. I think I saw Rent. This was so long ago, 97.
I've seen the movie Rent, the movie that's based off the musical with Jesse L. Martin, but
yeah, and Vince Vance and the Valiants enabled me to travel a lot and to go to different places. And while we were there, if we had time, we could run around.
Oh.
And sometimes we'd be in a tour bus and we just pull off the side of the road, check in the hotel. Sometimes we would have to fly because we had to be somewhere the night before, and sometimes we didn't get to see a hotel for a couple days, which is not fun. Tour bus breaking down. I can't tell you how many times the generator went out and we had to just sweat and just be miserable. We could get to our destination, which is sometimes 15 to 20 hours away. But they make for great memories. I was in my 20s and 30s. I was a youngster. I could handle it. Sleeping on the airport floor every once in a while. Getting up massively early, like 3 or 4 in the morning, sometimes to get in a car, to drive 2 hours to the airport, to jump on the airplane and then get to your destination and literally have to like deal with the lack of sleep and, you know, getting sick a lot. But like I said, it teaches you a lot of lessons, and it taught me to be resilient, and the show must go on always, regardless. And it's always about the audience. And Vince Vance is a comedian, and he's had the band 53 years. It started in 71, and I joined in 91, right out of high school. And I learned a lot about comedic timing and learning how to front a band and being an entertainer, running around with a wireless mic, because we did the Windstar Senior Breakfast, which is the largest casino, I believe, in the world, in Thackerville, Oklahoma, which is about 50 miles north of where I live. And we would commute twice a week to do that. Me and Dan, Dan was the bass player and the band leader. 2010 to 2014, we'd see these seniors, you know, more than our families. A lot of time they'd come out every week and they'd get up and line dance at 8:30 in the morning. We'd have coffee and breakfast with them, rock and roll, get home by 12:30. You know, it's crazy. It was a great gig. So, but I learned a lot of what I was getting at is Vince Vance taught me a lot about the timing and the wit and the humor and being quick to you know, blurt out a one-liner, you know, we're having a senior moment today or whatever it is, and grabbing the mic, running around and, you know, teasing the cute little old men, kissing their little bald heads. And it was a really amazing experience. And it was just, the timing was perfect because the band was hand chosen by Absolute Entertainment, who was hired to put the band together. And of course, Dan recommended me, I recommended Dan. And then we've got our amazing sax player. We had one of the best drummers in town, Paul Piper, who plays with everybody. Mike Nicosia on keys, and he also played drums, and four-part harmonies. There were 6 of us. So it was really cool. The timing for that was great because I had already had quite a bit of experience, and I had done a lot of shows all over the United States, parts of Europe. And so I was able to kind of take that role, and we were able to make our band morph into something really special. And we had our own, you know, fans, senior fans that we would see all the time. And it was just a great platform for all of us to kind of become our own thing. And we took requests, and the band was just so top notch. Everybody was so talented and experienced that they could just, you tell them the key of the song and they could just play it. You know, it was crazy. Like, well, what about this one? And then we would rehearse every Monday, and we stayed on top of it and really worked hard at keeping it, the integrity of the band and the sound and all of that together. We didn't just like show up, and we could have, but we didn't. And it made it all the more better. And to play songs that they request, you know, and some of these songs were like, really? Like some of them were like Ripple. That was like, what is the name of that? What is it? The Deadheads?
Oh, yeah. I forget.
I can think of that. But we did that one, and it ended up being one of our biggest hits. And then we did Cool Clear Water, and we did some stuff in the 40s. We did Sentimental Journey, all Patsy Cline, Elvis, Beatles, CCR. We did some Doobie Brothers.
I grew up. My dad exposed me to Doobie Brothers when I was growing up.
A lot of 70s music. We did some country. We were, up in Thackerville. There's, near Ardmore, Oklahoma, there's a lot of people that love country. They love to line dance. We did They would line dance at 8:30 in the morning. I'm telling you. We did a 2-hour show, and we would play Boot Scoot Boogie just about every time. They love Boot Scoot Boogie. We turned the Cupid Shuffle into the Windstar Senior Shuffle, changed the words, the Windstar Shuffle, the Windstar Senior Shuffle. Down, down, do your dance, down, down. And we ended up adding like songs and morphing like some of the bridges and the choruses into other songs that have the same beat. I mean, these guys are just such great musicians and great people and humble and kind and fun. And it was the greatest gig ever.
Man, music is a language of the soul. And why do I get the feeling that someday soon or somewhere down the line, there's going to be a New York Times best-selling book called The Chronicles of Stephanie Nadolny with all these wonderful stories she's telling us on, and I quote, do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And if you're joining us, I know, if you're joining us live on the replay, thank you for doing so. By the way, our good friend Hutch is here. He gives this interview 3 slices of pizza way, way up. And he also says Grateful Dead is another favorite band of his.
That's it. Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead, yes.
I was always like, they're so positive. They look at the bright side of things. They're dead and they're grateful. How much more positive can you get? So that was it.
That's Hutch for you. Hutch is a good friend of ours. What's up, Hutch? Good to see you, man. Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods.
Are we doing shout outs or answering their questions? Or are they just
I mean, people are here in the chat, but Hutch has just given us 3 slices of pizza as his way of giving us 3 thumbs up, I guess.
Goku loves pizza. Goku loves any and all kinds of food. So thank you. Yeah,
that's very, very true. And he's waving at us by saying hello. So hello, Hutch. Good to see you, brother. Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. He's a friend of mine. So good people, good company. But yeah, all this music stuff you're talking about. But yeah, no, there are so many great moments that happened for us in 2024, whether it's meeting some of these legendary members of the Star Wars family or other fandoms at conventions. And the other thing is this channel has grown so much. We got over 1,300 subscribers now. So thank you to everybody who's contributed to that success.
Ooh, let's grow that number. I'll help share everything on the socials. We'll get to see it.
By all means, please do. And another highlight, because we forgot to mention this earlier, because earlier in the summer, yours truly and Stephanie, we actually met in person at Thy Geekdom Con in the state of Pennsylvania. Speaking of Pennsylvania,
I was there.
That was at Oaks. Yes, you and I were there. We had a picture together. I'm sorry I don't have it here on the set to share with everybody, but it is on our social media that I did post. So
yeah, I want to get back up to Philly this next year, and I want to get to possibly even check into that one in DC. I've been to DC and looked around, and it's an amazing place to walk the town and see all the memorials and all of the stuff.
Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Air and Space Museum was my favorite, but
yeah, there's so much to do. We did a lot of museums and stuff. Yeah. Tons of museums.
I like Air and Space because I've always been fascinated by astronomy. So
Liberty Bell.
Well, that's in Philadelphia.
That's what I mean. I'm going back to Philly. That's right.
Oh, Philly. Yeah. Well, we would like to have you in Philly.
I'd love to be back.
Or maybe Oaks. Maybe they'll bring you back for Thy Geekdom Con. I don't know.
I'd be up for it if they want to switch people out. I totally understand that, and then they can put me on them for the next year. I mean, I never try to force anything anyway. It's like if there's not space or they're out of budget or they've already been booked up, it's fine. If they want to switch it out, that's fine.
That Geekdom Con was fun to see you at.
That was so fun. Like I said, I love Philly. Your Eagles are really kicking some butt too. It looks like I'm a Cowboy fan, and they've been not so great for like 3 decades. Unfortunately, I do remember when they were in their heyday in the 90s, early 90s. They were the dream team, and we won, I guess, a total of 5 Super Bowls. And I know there were like 3 right in there at the beginning of the 90s. Yeah, we had Jimmy Johnson as a coach, and we still watched the games. And last year we actually did pretty well. We got really close. Sometimes the teams, any given Sunday or any given Saturday, whenever the game's played, you could choke and you can get the pressure's on and stuff. But anyway, so for the Philadelphia fans, I'm happy for you, and I like to see my friends happy when their teams win. And
it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
I mean, it possibly be true. Is it the Sunshine State or is it the what?
No,
state?
It's just the name of a popular sitcom from FX.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Which is the name of it is literally the name of the show. It's called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which stars Danny DeVito, Charlie Day, and a bunch of other comedic actors.
Well, there's another one I need to watch.
If you want to, this is a funny question, even though I may or may not know the answer to this already. But as someone who may say on other interviews that you may have been a part of, seen any good movies or TV shows lately?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen anything at all, or you just haven't had the time because you've been doing so much traveling and meeting the millions of fans?
Been doing a lot of that. I have actually, this is kind of funny. People might not realize, fans of the show may not realize this. So Dan and I have started, I went ahead and when I was cast in Daima, I thought, well, it makes sense for me to go ahead and get Crunchyroll, a subscription to Crunchyroll. And at some point, maybe Netflix. I'm not really home enough to really relish in something like that yet, but I do have Crunchyroll, and we started watching Dragon Ball, the original from the beginning, about a month ago, and we are now up to like episode 13, and we watch, you know, 1 or 2 in a row every couple of days, maybe 3 days in between travel on the weekends. And it's been such a joy and so memorable to like, because it's been so long since I dubbed that show. It was 20 plus years ago, probably closer to 23. I know I dubbed Gohan 25 and a half years ago, I think 25, 26. It was 98. So we got to do the math there. So yeah, it's way, I'm glad we waited to watch it and watch it together, because now that we've done so many events and I've worked with a lot of the original voice actors, the original Bulma, the original Chi-Chi, the original Frieza, all of us we were a small group of talent. It, you know, was something that grew. Next thing you know, it's owned by Sony and it's moving a couple places. Now it's ginormous. It's called Crunchyroll. But it's been really way funnier than I realized, because when we do our lines, we don't watch the show. We are given instruction and direction based on what's going on in the show, and then we just, for efficiency's sake, we just dive right in. We get it the first time, great, we move on. If not, we do it 2 or 3 more times with direction, like, oh, that's higher stakes, he's really mad, or he's really screaming loud here, so do it a little louder, and then do it again. So to see it in context from start, you know, to hopefully finish whenever that happens, and to know the voices behind those characters. In fact, one of them sang in our show band, Vince Vance. I recruited her in as a Valiantette back in 2000 and 2001, and she's Meredith McCoy. She's the voice of Android 18 and Launch in Dragon Ball, who turns into Husky when she sneezes. She turns into this mean person. Anyway, we're watching all that, and it's been more enjoyable. Not just because I'm in it. I know the voices behind the characters, and I know the directors and all the names that come up at the end of the credits. So we've been really enjoying that lately. Other than that, one of my favorite shows is Saturday Night Live. I've been watching that off and on since I was a child in the 70s. My dad would let me stay up late and watch Rosanna, Daima. And then, of course, the OGs from that show are some of the best. Of course, I love Chris Farley and what's the guy? Belushi, Jim Belushi and John Belushi, Bill Murray, Steve Martin, one of my all-time favorite actors and comedians of all time. So I've been watching that. Here, some of those are hit or miss. Some of them are funnier than others. And then music. We'll put music on when we cook and really relish in music and different types of genres, as well as some really cool fusion jazz. Dan likes a lot of the jazz, so we listen to that when we're traveling. We play trade songs. I know it sounds silly. I'll pick a song, he'll pick a song. We pull it up on YouTube, listen to it. So that's kind of how I spend my free time. I have been doing a few piano lessons. I want to get back into piano and accompaniment. Because I want to get back into writing songs, whether they're novelty songs that are featured on my website or not. I want to get back into some writing and some getting in the studio, getting into that creative process where you're in the studio and recording and layering harmonies and embellishing the instrumentation is something I really miss. I did a lot of that in the 90s with Brave Combo. It's a award-winning polka band out of Denton, Texas, which is really kind of right up the road from where I live. It's also the home of the University of North Texas and TWU, Texas Women's University. So there's a lot of, and it's UNT is a music school. So there's a ton of music there, a ton of amazing what they call it one lab band. And then there's a group that's considered the #1, and they're the top players, and they put on concerts. And so, you know, I'm going back into doing more of the music because that's where it all began for me. That's where it all began. And then the vocals and the voice acting, you know, came a little later, but so that's why I spend a lot of my time. That and there's a lot of business we have to do during the week because we're running a business here. And so it's anything from ordering merch, reordering prints and posters, reaching out to my new creative artists, getting the files ready together to place the order. I'm always in and out of my merch bag, fine tuning how it's packed and what goes in it, and, you know, updating my oil-based paint pens. And now I just got some neon ones that apparently react to black light. So there's, you know, I'm always trying to stay up with the trends. There's plenty of things like this: interviews, scheduling, booking flights, booking hotel rooms, possibly sometimes rental cars, depending on if we want to drive our own vehicle or not. There's really quite a bit. There's always something I've got auditions as well that are kind of peppered in there. I've got some coming out. I've got 4 I've got to do in the next 2 or 3 days. So like I said, we stay really busy, so free time is a little limited. But we're making hay while the sun's shining right now. This is what's going on. This is current. This is relevant right now. Let's embrace it and let's rock this thing. And that's kind of what we're doing. But I do sometimes catch the news, although, you know, that's kind of can be contrived. Who knows what's really real and whatever, and based on who wrote it. So I do try to kind of keep up with current events that way. I'm not into politics much. I'm not into sports other than the Cowboys and some, you know, football. But I did binge watch Breaking Bad back in like 2020, back when COVID hit and I was home a lot. Definitely watched more TV and movies then. But I do have, like I said, that list that's ongoing. And like I said, I like comedy kind of more than anything, because who doesn't love to laugh? It's like therapy. It's like get you through the hard times, you know. At least it does for me. And some people like it more than others. So then that's where stand-up comedians come in. We'll scroll through and watch Dry Bar, which is like really funny comedians, snippets, and there's no profanity, so it's family friendly, which is really nice when you can be funny and now you don't have to use all those bad words and blah blah blah. So comedy is another thing that I love. And before bed, I like to watch things that are lighthearted, so you don't go to bed like with all this horrible, sad, morbid news or horror flicks in your brain. Lord knows I don't need any of that, because when I had my insomnia, sleep paralysis, and night terrors, my own brain was coming up with the most bizarre, horrifying things. So in my older age, I just don't want to put that in my head. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see people getting killed. I don't want to see real things happening, accidents on YouTube. I just don't even want to see it. And I know there's this curiosity, and a lot of people are like, oh, we got to see this. Oh my God, he jumped up a building. Oh my God, he went splat. It's like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to advocate for that kind of stuff. I mean, if people like horror movies, not knocking it. That's your thing. I understand. But for me personally, I like to stick with the lighthearted stuff. And I like a lot of the animated features where I can kind of listen to some of the voice actors out there that have voiced certain characters, so that when I do meet them, I'll kind of have an idea of what they worked on, if I've seen it or not, and things like that. So, and I love Beavis and Butthead. I'm sorry. I grew up with brothers. I'm a 80s, 90s chick, and that's what came out then. And I know it's silly and ridiculous, but it's just so lighthearted, and it's mindless humor. And so, you know, I got plenty to watch. We have a DVR, so we go back and watch some things we may have missed. And I do like to keep up with TMZ just for fun. And Access Hollywood Extra. I like to kind of see what the celebrities in Hollywood's up to. I don't play into any of the negativity or anything, or the gossip and stuff. I don't like that, but I do enjoy it just for lighthearted, you know, like, oh, did you hear that blah 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 blah, and so and so broke up, and so are married. Anyway, I'm going on and on. So those are some of the things I watch.
No, that's cool. That's a nice long list. It's a 6 mile long list. Some of that is to be watched, some of it is TBR. Yeah, exactly. It's a long list, but hey, we appreciate it nonetheless. There's no doubt. So, and we've discussed a lot about what has occurred here in 2024, some of the things we've enjoyed, some of the things we may have had to overcome, and all that kind of jazz. And hey, it's all good. It's all been a tough year on a lot of people out there, but hey, 2025 is knocking out your door. All you got to do is answer it, walk right through it, because the door of opportunity is waiting.
And so there's always one to open that's you'll be directed in your own way, and you'll look back and see how it all fell together. Oh, one more thing I like to watch. Ben and I are into Stoicism. If you guys want to check out Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius was around many years, 2,000 years ago, or a long time ago. There were concepts and theories put in place back then on how to live and really relish and blossom in the life that you have now. And it's not religion by any means, but it's very informative about. You can check it out. There's tons, and there's YouTube videos, and they show all the Roman and the Greek, you know, statues, and they have this. I'm sure it's AI, but they have this amazing voice that narrates all of these ideas of how to live and how to embrace, what you can't change and how to treat others and respecting others' views. And really, it's really another thing I like to watch before bed. It puts these really amazing ideas that are, I mean, there was this king, Marcus Aurelius. He was a king. He could have done anything. He could have misused his money. He could have had whatever he wanted. He could have relished in the flesh and not in the spirit. And he chose to relish in the spirit and to provide a better environment and a helping of service to others as this king. And he gave of himself and taught these principles that are amazing. And I mean, I can't even quote them. There's so many, but it's like it has to do with honesty, integrity, doing the next right thing, doing the good things even when no one's looking. Just a really great set of rules, even if it's just like some guidelines, when to talk, when to be quiet. Don't toot your horn. Let others toot it for you. They'll know you by your works, that's actually the Bible. But like it's written. I mean, I highly recommend that at least listen to a YouTube on Stoicism or buy a book about Stoicism, because it's fascinating. And this was so long ago, and all of these principles that are laid out can be applied to any genre, any age, any time frame. And that's what's another thing that's so amazing about it. And the fact that it's stuck around this long, there's so many followers of it, so many books written on it. Other people, other leaders from many years ago followed a lot of those principles. And I just think it's a great guideline for living, and the golden rule, all that stuff, because people get caught up. We all got something, right? We always got something, addiction or, alcohol or eating, over spending, hoarding, exercising too much. That all of those things have to be put in perspective. And then when they take you away from being your best self, it's not good. So that's another thing I've been doing, is really relishing in the self-help and, really analyzing my behaviors in the past and really trying to break some old patterns that aren't healthy, working on self-esteem issues that started from being moved around so much and, being bullied emotionally in school for, I don't know, walking in and auditioning for a play and getting a lead role, and then they're all mad at me. And, all these things that happen have made me even more self-aware, mindful, and grateful for, first of all, still being here after some times that I almost didn't survive, and really learning to try to live in the moment, not in the past or the future. And it's very difficult because you're always kind of planning for the future, and then you have your depression. The people with depression kind of think about the past. People with anxiety tend to think about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in the future? Oh my, and they get all wrapped up in that. So I think it's just good for people to really just try to live in the moment, because that's really all we have. It's not easy, but it's something to focus on. It's good for everybody, and I highly recommend that too.
Very true. In the words of our good friend Biff Tannen, you know your history. Very good. I'll never forget that Saturday. Anyway, sorry. I've seen the movies one too many times. I can quote them pretty darn well. Which is a fun fact that we brought up in another show that we did together. I think, Stephanie, the first time I met you and we did this show, and I quote, the first time you and I were on set, I think I said, if I watch something once or twice, the whole script goes right up here. Oh, yeah.
Do you memorize stuff really easily?
When it comes to movies, anyway. When it comes to movies, I can't memorize a whole lot, but when I have a sharp memory for movies, I'm
Oh, there's some lines that I like it when they'll put things on the internet and say, hey, or you can contribute, where it's like, say, like on the socials, it's like, what's a movie that you can quote one line and everybody will know what it is, kind of thing. And I mean, for me, one of mine was Raising Arizona. It came out in 1989. I was still in school at the time,
Nick
but
Cage.
I freaking love that movie. And
Being in the Cage with Nick Cage, yeah.
Nick Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman.
Oh, I almost forgot John Goodman's in that. Yeah.
Oh, Tex Cobb. It's about all the babies, and I mean, I can quote pretty much almost that entire movie.
Really?
So when I watch it, I have to literally like put my hand on my mouth, because I will quote it like right before each line. And Dan's like, I'm trying to watch a movie. I'm like, I'm sorry. But I still quote it anyway.
I do it all the time too.
Pop culture is so important. Like, and that's when the Comic-Cons and I mean,
that's what I love to do.
Yeah, and even like it becomes part of some of these things that happen in movies and pop culture become part of slang, and or there's phrases and new words for the Webster's dictionary. You know what I mean? These become
part of the everyday lexicon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to speak. Yeah. No, it's funny you bring that up, because I was watching clips last night, and this was on the interwebs. People do this all the time. because I watched this movie growing up, and I watched it even to this day. It's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Batman from '89.
Oh,
Every time I
love
watch
that
it,
Batman.
I know exactly what's going to happen. I know what line's
Yes.
coming up, and every time it happens, I'm quoting it 2 seconds ahead of where the film is because I already know what's happening. So
Is
I was
that the
watching,
Michael Keaton?
yeah, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Ah,
Yes.
Love that movie. Just watched a
So-
snippet of that recently of Jack Nicholson.
It's
as
great. It's great. I mean, every scene I watch, every time I watch it, whether it's the full length feature film or just clips of it on YouTube, because there's a lot of things on YouTube these days. I'm thinking to myself, you know, I wish it could have been a fly on the wall when they were making this, because the scene where Michael and Jack are interacting with each other for the first time in the apartment with Vicky Vale, and he smashes the vase and says, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts."
Oh,
I mean, that scene is just.
I just saw that one. I saw that one, and
Did you?
another my favorite one is when he's in the conference room, and there's all those people around the table, and he's at the front of the
The
table.
Gotham Mafia, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and then that one where the guy is.
Yeah, he burns himself, or he
And
burns the
yeah.
guy with the yeah,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
then this town needs an enema.
exactly.
I
yeah.
remember when that came out. I didn't know what an enema was.
Exactly.
Oh my god, how embarrassing! I
I didn't know what it was either.
Yeah, well, because we were young.
Yeah, we were young, we were foolish, we didn't know any better.
We didn't know what the words meant, and I wanted to know what it meant. And anyway, sometimes it gets you in some weird situations.
Yeah.
But I did watch that, and I think Jack Nicholson on that where he just walking around and you hear him in the background, and he's just laughing incessantly
Mhm.
over the line that he said with this burnt body.
I'm glad you're dead.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead. It's
I'm glad you're dead. He's just maniac. It's just a maniac.
It's a
He was-
maniac, yeah.
That movie was very well casted. Very well done.
In my opinion, I think it was perfectly cast, but that's just.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And I'm old school Superman too. Christopher Reeve is my
We missed you, Chris. We
Superman.
missed you.
I want to
sure.
see that documentary that they
Yeah, I
put
want to the Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. I want to see that too because I
Oh.
mean, as you know, Superman's my bread and butter. So
obviously.
I need to sit down and watch that. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry, fans. I apologize.
Yeah.
I've yet
No,
to-
just like I said, you got to make a list, and as you get older, it's even harder to remember stuff. So you just literally
long
got to
list.
post-it notes, whatever you got to do, guys.
Post-it notes. Yeah.
Trust me, passwords. Don't even get me started on
Yeah.
passwords.
Post-it notes.
Forgot password.
Well, maybe a notebook, sheet of paper. People still use those things. So if you want,
I finally graduated to the Google Calendar and to using Waze on my phone.
oh, the Google Calendar. Okay.
Yeah, Dan got me started, and I'm like, I was
Way to
so
go, Dan. We love you, brother.
He is great with technology. I'm telling you, he loves the new gadgets. It's so fun buying his
Google Calendar. That's a great thing to use, Dan.
Yeah, and then it's always on your phone, and then like we were linking our business emails, so
Exactly.
we can follow up. Did you follow up with this guy? Okay, I saw that you did, so I don't do it again. And like we're getting a system, and it's working very well, and we love and adore each other, so that makes it even better because we're best friends and just partners in life. And he's been through my ups and downs. Well, we've been through each other's ups and downs since 2003. That's 21
Like family.
Yeah, he is, and he is my family now. He is
your family. Okay.
He's my main squeeze, my one and only, my pookie butt.
Even though sometimes we say in Hollywood or we say here in studios, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. But in this case,
Right.
we can pay attention to you, Dan, behind the curtain, because we
You can.
hashtag
And
little
he's
minor
got
behind the
ideas.
scenes, little minor behind the scenes secret here. We were talking to him earlier before we went on the show.
Right.
He's
Actually gotten asked for his autograph. We talk to some people sometimes.
Really?
If it's cool, so that they'll say, "Well, can I have your autograph too?" And I'm just like, I just love it when that happens. And he's like, "But I'm nobody." I'm like, "Don't say nobody." And because it's a memory, and like I said, when I can bring him, which is most every time now that he's retired, he's working for me, following me around the world.
Oh,
like
sure,
Tasmanian devil. I keep him busy. Trust me, he needs all hands on deck with me. But we have so many memories and fun trips together. We've been able to kind of see the world. I'm supposed to go to the UK in March, so we'll be going over there.
Oh my gosh.
For the Oxford Card Show.
Oxford.
I may or may not be going back to Australia late this year. I'm gonna have to wait and see. It may end up having to move into 26, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm hopefully going to be venturing out into some places I've never been, and therefore meeting all kinds of new people from all over. So
I was going to say that's always fun.
yeah, and he acts as my handler as well, so he knows how to do all of the transactions and the different forms of payment, and we share a room. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Gee whiz. Okay. Well, thanks for paying attention to the person behind the curtain. Well done, Dan. Goodness gracious.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, but 2024 has been a heck of a year. We look forward to seeing what 2025 is bringing us. I mean, obviously, our goals here at Ann Quote is just continue to entertain millions of people around the world as best as I can. With these shows, whether it's Ann Quote, whether it's movie watch-alongs, or the Meaning of Fandom, which is coming back in 2025. That'll be back on January the 3rd is our first episode of the year. So that's coming up on Friday at 7 Eastern. Don't forget to tune in for that. That's going to be a jolly good time. And then the movie watch-alongs are going to be every other Friday at 7 p.m. So, and by the way, Stephanie, if you have the time to spare and you're not too busy with conventions and appearances and everything else that's going on, hopefully you can appear on one of our episodes of Movie Watch-Along and celebrate one of your favorite 80s films.
That's what I'd like to do. We'll check with that. I travel a lot on Fridays, but if there's
I know you do. Those are convention weekends. I know they're convention weekends, but I will send some dates over your way because we have them scheduled together in a spreadsheet. So I can send you certain films that I know you're a big fan of. I'll send you the dates for certain things, and then you can coordinate with your people. See if you can join us for one or two of those films. If you
I would love it. I would love that
because a lot of your favorites.
I'm already somewhere too. I'm already there.
Right.
I can log in at the hotel.
That's true. Yeah, but Back to the Future is going to be one of them. The Breakfast Club turns 40 next year.
That's a great one.
The Goonies turns 40.
I love it.
Rambo: First Blood Part 2 turns.
Rambo. Okay, I'll be watching.
Yeah, and Back to the Future Part 3 turns 35 because that came out in 1990, respectively.
Right.
TMNT turns 35. Right. Batman Forever turns 30 with Val Kilmer.
Oh goodness, I never saw that, so that'd be fun to watch it in a format and a platform like that.
Batman Begins turns 20.
Okay, look at you.
I know. There's a lot of. I know. I'm just rattling off like half.
No, that's great. Like that's
which I'm doing because in 2 weeks we're going to be doing a 35th anniversary of Tremors with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, Tremors.
Anybody remember? You remember Tremors, don't you?
I do, and Footloose. Granted, that's even further back.
That was a little before, but
Oh, Tremors was before?
No, Tremors was after. No, I'm saying that Footloose was before Tremors came out. I'm just saying.
Right. But that's where his career, that was his big breakout role. And I was wondering.
Yeah.
It's interesting to go back and see who is still relevant and is still being cast and still very much involved in the music.
Kevin Bacon is still around.
He's really done well.
Kevin is.
Yeah, I'm always. That's why the classics are so great. The classic movies, You see which ones stood the test of time.
Footloose. She's having a baby.
Oh yeah, he's great.
A Few Good Men. He was in that with Tom Cruise. Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson and Demi Moore.
Demi Moore. Yeah.
Demi Moore.
Who I didn't know was pregnant when they were filming that.
Oh yeah, and another one that I loved with Demi Moore. What's the one? I'll think of it in a minute. We'll talk about it.
Wait, was it St. Elmo's Fire?
Oh yeah. There's another '80s movie for
That's an '80s classic. Let's not forget about that one. That had the Brat Pack in it, or at least most.
The Brat Pack. Oh, and the woman that played
who was it?
In Back to the Future, the mother.
Leah Thompson.
Yes, she was in that one as well.
She seems to age very well. She does a lot of convention appearances. Leah Thompson's been appearing at many conventions across the country.
I know. I hope I get to be at one of those.
I want to meet her. Yeah, I got her autograph for other means, but I've never actually physically met her. I want to meet her and be like, I just want to say your performances in some of your other '80s films, which is something's got to. Is it not Something's Got to Give? It's oh gosh, I can't remember. It's something with an F.
If we overthink it,
Eric Stoltz is in it. It'll come to me.
Mask.
No,
he was in several others.
I can't remember, but anyway, Leah Thompson is an '80s queen, and she's aged gracefully in the last 45 years. So, Leah, if you're watching this, I look forward to seeing you at a convention and talking your ears off about 2 or 3 of your films that I am a big fan of. So, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, then I've met Claudia Wells, who plays. She's a little firecracker. She is fun. We hit it off instantaneously.
Did you?
We did TikTok. We were at a Plano, Texas DFW event called Retromania or Retro.
Oh, Retromania! I've heard of that one.
Retromania.
I've never been there though, but
the people that run it are really good friends of mine. Scott and Gail.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a couple, and they run them, and they're from Colorado, but they put them on all over the place. And
that's crazy.
I've worked with them several times, but I met her at one, and we ended up just instantly hanging out. Started giving each other ideas for TikTok. We there was an R2D2 running around. We got a picture with R2D2. This was probably about 3 years ago.
She seems very nice.
She is, and she's fun. She's got tons of energy. We ended up going to dinner at the Cowboys
really
social club because one of the fans was a huge fan of Back to the Future, and he got us in, and we spent a fortune, but we got to be there and got to like walk around and see all the memorabilia, and you can't take pictures. So we were like, we can't take pictures. Dang it. But, out of, respect for the privacy of the other Daima and members and things like that. But
the establishment, yeah.
So then, of course, I have her number, and we shared some ideas about.
I want to meet Claudia so bad.
She's fun, and she's tiny and just a little spitfire. You'll
I've heard, but she's got a lot of great souvenirs at her booth too. She's got all the 8x10, some things you've never seen before. She's got the clock tower flyer sitting there, and I'm like,
she actually wrote like in that Back to the Future scene when she puts her number down and hands it. That's actually her writing and her note that they use.
That's awesome.
Which there's all these things that she can tell you behind.
I love it.
The behind the scenes things are precious joy.
I love it though. I love it because her interactions with MJ, even though in the limited amount of time that she has on screen in the first installment of that franchise, she does a great job with the limited amount of screen time that she has.
Well, and that hot rolled hair and the outfit with the vest. I mean, that's.
I'll be at my grandma's. Here, let me give you the number.
Oh my gosh!
Remember when he says that? He's like, "I'll call you tonight." Oh, I'll be at my grandma's, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Right? It's like, oops.
Like, she'll be at my grandma's. Ooh, here, let me give you the number. And then you hear the song playing in the background because you remember the song, right, Steph? You can't forget about the iconic song Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, I love it. And Huey Lewis is one of my faves. And also Christopher Lloyd, got to meet him.
Oh, he's nice too.
He was something. I was fangirling big time.
Met him twice.
Because he, even back before he was in all these movies, he was on a show called Taxi.
Yes.
You can watch snippets of that.
Reverend Jim, yeah.
He was funny as crap. And then
what does the yellow light mean? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. So he was at the event. Where was that? So it would have been 2012.
Was it in Texas?
It was in Australia.
Australia. So this must have been Supernova or something like that?
Supernova, yeah. Yeah. It was, but that was just an Australia trip, just Australia. But he was on the bus and I was just trying to just
not fangirl.
He was right behind me and I'm just like, I want to talk to him so bad. I want to talk, just give it some time, let him kind of see me and know that I'm part of the guests whatever lineup, and
yeah,
had a good conversation with him in the lobby. He talked about he's from Michigan, and he talked about his family, and I'm so glad he's still ticking because he's getting up there in age.
Up there.
Yeah, but I was just like, oh my God, it's Christopher Lloyd. It's Christopher Lloyd. I was just trying to calm down. Like I was so excited to meet him. Being a big Back to the Future fan, of course.
Yeah, you had a lot of adrenaline coursing through your veins that day, I'm sure.
Yeah. For sure. I'm glad you mentioned that because, well, we could go on and on. I'm sure.
No, he was great. I've met him twice. The first time I met him was at before it was called Fan Expo. It was Wizard World in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I did that one in Philly. Gosh,
yeah, he was there, and we actually got a picture together with an actual time traveling DeLorean car that was on display at the event, and there was a clock tower backdrop sitting behind us. I don't know if this was sitting there. And I was the first one to get the photo op with him because they were doing the pro photo ops that day. And I was like, hey, I really want one. He's like, okay, you're first in line. I was like, oh my God, I get to see Chris. So I interacted with Chris a little bit in between the photo ops, even though it was kind of like, one next, two next, three, kind of rush kind of job.
Big line, yeah.
But I talked to him, and then I asked him a question during his Q&A panel when he was in the panel halls or panel rooms, I should say panel rooms, excuse me. And he was great. He was fantastic. And our photo op is one of the best photo ops I ever got because you actually I'm standing next to Chris with an actual DeLorean behind us.
It's perfect.
And the clock tower as a backdrop, Stephanie, as someone who's very big into photo like yourself, like the perfect photo. It's like that is a money shot. So
yeah, there was a booth at one of the events I did in Illinois, sort of Chicago-ish area, but
Chicago-ish. Okay.
I mean,
near the windy city of Chicago with them bears.
Quincy, Illinois. I just remembered.
Quincy, thank you.
They had a DeLorean and the actual like white coat.
Oh, really?
The lab coat. You could like dress up as either the Michael J. Fox character or the Christopher Lloyd character.
Oh, that's great.
And then you could run around the car and do like a video or a photo. And I did one where I was like, "Great Scott!" Trying to like channel my best.
Your inner Chris Lloyd.
The glasses and all of that, running around the DeLorean. It's just fun, and it's fun for people that nostalgia and kids and families that have watched the show and everything. So it's really interesting to go. I don't have much time to run around usually when I'm at the events because I really focus on the business.
Very busy.
Yeah. I don't want to leave the table for long. I try to just make sure I'm ready to go for the whole long haul. So I don't disappoint anybody. But every once in a while, to and from the restroom or to and from lunch or whatever, I'll see these other things, and I mean, I see why these things are so fun and how people can spend a day or two or the full weekend there actually because there's so much to do and see, and like you said, the panels, and there's always something going on. So yeah, go to a Comic-Con, guys. If you haven't been to one, check them out. They're a lot of fun. They're all different, all over the place. Small ones, big ones, large ones, crazy ones. They're out there.
Well, she's right. Fun fact: I am going to be taking my niece and my nephew to the very first small comic book show here in my area, in my neck of the woods of Maryland. So that's coming up this weekend. So looking forward to taking them to that and having them enter see a little bit of a window into my world. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Start them out small. Don't go to the big stuff first out of the gate. Let them get their bearings. Let them find their footing. They'll enjoy themselves. It's a small show anyway. There's only going to be like less than 40 vendors there, so it shouldn't be too much trouble.
Yeah, that's a good starter.
It's a vendor show. It's strictly just comic books, trading cards, that kind of thing.
Oh, an expo. Yeah, those are great. And some of them are only one day, but you can.
Yeah, they are. This one is one day.
Yeah.
It'll be on Sunday, January the 5th, I want to say. That'll be in the afternoon hours. So
wonderful.
My niece and my nephew, love you guys. Look forward to taking you this weekend. Enjoy yourselves because your Uncle Ryan's going to be taking good care of you for that one. So
yeah, he will.
Once again, 2024 may have been a good year, may have been a tough year for you who are watching or listening to this episode of Ann Quote with the guest of honor, I should say, legendary guest, I should say, Stephanie Nadolny. Don't forget to like and share this. If you're watching us live on the replay, thank you for doing that. 2024 has been a heck of a year, but the only question is what's going to happen to us in 2025? Well, you know what they say, only time's going to tell, but we wish you and Stephanie the best with everything in 2025. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Stephanie Nadolny for being our guest on our very last final episode of 2024. Stephanie, it was great to see you. I don't want to take anything away from your schedule because I know you're going to be meeting up with friends here pretty soon, but this has been a great time. It was great to see you. Congratulations on everything that you have done. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, spending time with families and loved ones during this holiday season because we're at the tail end of it. You know, believe it or not.
Got to take care of other people too that are mourning and suffering. It's really, I sent a lot of cards this year and a lot of
great.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun.
And but we thank you for being with us, and we look forward to having you back here in 2025 for some of our movie episodes.
Let's do that. And then there might be some new news. Who knows what's going to happen? There might be some other projects we can talk about maybe next summer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And thank you for sharing with us what you can, and your return to Dragonball and Daima and all that great stuff, and all these new pops that are coming out, pieces of merchandise that are coming out.
Good many,
yeah, they're just
coming back. By the way, the nostalgia, the comedy, it's something for everyone. So even if you haven't watched Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball GT, or Super, or Kai, or whatever the games, you can start with Daima and still really enjoy it. But the fans that grew up with it are gonna relish in it because it's going to have their nostalgic voices that they missed, and Goku is just so innocent and funny and pure of heart. But power pulls back, I can tell you that.
Well, that's just beautiful. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us. Now, if somebody wants to know more about you or keep up to date with some of your appearances, or maybe get an autograph from you, or maybe keep up with some of the other shows or movies or whatever else is going on in your busy but wonderful life, where can they follow you on social media, Stephanie?
StephanieNadolny.com. That's an octave, by the way. There's also Stephanie Nadolny, voice actress, on Facebook. My band that I have on the side when we can perform is called Moonglass. That's going to be Moonglass Band on Facebook. Let's see, Instagram, Stephanie Nadolny. TikTok, Steph Nadolny. So, but the best place is the website. It's got we're trying to be more up to date. We're going to be better about that. But all the upcoming appearances, where information about that, websites, logos, and things that can help you navigate. Maybe one that you'd like to attend with your friends and family. And then there's also some just some fun anime themes. A lot of my fans with voiceover don't realize I'm a singer and started out singing. So there's some anime themes that I did for Yu Yu Hakusho, Kitty Grade, Case Closed, and various others that were coming out around 2000, 2002. And then there's, some demos and just some funny voices and things like that. But we're going to be adding to that and making the website bigger and better in the new year. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to try to learn more technical stuff too. So those are basically StephanieNadolny.com will get you to kind of where there's an arsenal of just the basics. And there are links to my Facebook and Instagram and TikTok there. So that might be the best one to go to if you'd like to follow me and see what kind of shenanigans are happening in my life.
Well, that is just dandy. Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to talk to you here momentarily after I share some things with our viewers. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow us on all forms of social media. Simply at And I Quote Channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram personally at RyanRPM5, just to be a little bit more specific. And this is indeed our final show of 2024. And thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you to everyone who has liked, commented, shared, subscribed to our channel. We thank you so much. And as Stephanie pointed out, we want to raise those numbers to the best of our ability. So our goal is 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we'll go through a great big live stream celebration that will include some special giveaways that you, the incredible viewer / subscriber, is going to be eligible to win. Also, we got merch that's on sale, because who doesn't like great merch, Stephanie? We got shirts, we got hoodies, we got stickers, we got coffee mugs, we got stationery, throw pillows, all kinds of really cool stuff that I really think you're going to enjoy. So check out all the links down in the description of this video down below and on our social media bios. The link to where you can follow me is located down below, as well as where you can follow Stephanie Nadolny. Links are located down in the description. But this has been a great year for this channel in so many different ways, and I want to thank everybody who has helped me put all these great shows together behind the scenes, or you've been a panelist, you've been a guest, you've had some suggestions or feedback, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I cannot do this without you. 2024 was really good, but we cannot wait to see what 2025 has in store for us and for you, because we wish you nothing but the best, and we wish you nothing but success, as one might say, in 2025. And just remember one very important thing, and I tell this to Stephanie, and I tell this to everybody I can to the best of my ability. You are so money, you just don't even know it. I mean, you're like a bear, man. So take it easy, enjoy yourselves, be safe if you're celebrating the New Year's with family, friends, coworkers, whatever it may be. Happy holidays to you, and more importantly, Happy New Year. And thank you to Tracy Lynn Cruz for giving this channel and our programming a very special shout out. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of when our videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when supporting creators from all over the world. Happy holidays and Happy New Year 2025.
Hey guys, you're watching Ryan's channel, and I quote, "You channel, I just wanted to send a special shout out that you guys will continue to embrace the nerd within." This is Tracy Lynn Cruz, in case you don't know, Ashley from Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Turbo. I just want to let you know, thank you so much for all of your support. Ryan's amazing, and I quote your channel, amazing. You guys keep on morphing and embrace the nerd within.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.